All right, everybody. The Raptors, they just lost the New Orleans Pelicans. I'm here with Trevon Heath, the trade that pulls up as the Raptors fall down the
That
standings.
was nice.
Yeah, thank you. By the way, this episode is the Pull Up Trade podcast, and it is a presentation of TuneIn Online Sportsbook and Casino. Trey has been out the last couple episodes, so as the Raptors have been disappointing, I have been sitting, stewing in my anger and disappointment. And you have always been between us,
Yes.
I think, well, at least this year, more of the optimist.
Mhm.
And I'm hitting the end of my rope a little bit here.
I
So
saw the last pod. I did.
okay. Lewis, after Lewis and I talked, he was like, that was kind of and I was like, yep, it was. So anyway, just catch me up on where you're at. What are the broad strokes of what you're seeing?
This is obviously the first time the Raptors are in real danger, like of the season completely toppling over. You have to acknowledge this. Obviously, it's clear that they have hit a ceiling on the level of team that they are, which is fine. We expected them to be this middling team. I think what's sort of the perplexing issue that they've had is usually middling teams have some bubbling young players that you're hoping that like can help you in a pinch through any sort of time. But the Raptors don't have that actually, which has been a real struggle while watching them trying to figure everything out. And also the issue with both like Jakob and CMB, the lineup advantages that they both provide also lead to disadvantages on either side of the ball. And I think with CMB being out of the lineup, it has shown that this team, the level of incompetence they have at the perimeter defensively is not stomachable for 90% of bigs in the league. So they're at a real inflection point where they need to make a hard decision or the season's going to fall off because the next 5 games is not easy. But I still have faith.
Okay. It is important to mention, of course, that before the season, I think they're now on pace for 45 wins. Before the season, you said, what, 47 in the 6th seed or 5th seed?
Yeah.
Myself, I said 43 and that they'd make the playoffs through the play-in. I assumed through the 8th or 7th seed. They are now the 7th seed and up by, I think, a full game on the 76ers for 8th. Of course, the Hawks have won, 6 in a row? The Hornets are 7-3 in their last 10. They've won a bunch. I'm going to do something here that I've never done before in my life, Trey.
Okay.
I have Tankathon pulled up. I've never done a Tankathon.
Oh, brother. This is the season?
No. Just one sec. Because I tweeted out that, the Raptors, it's looking like they're going to be in a play-in spot. And so some people in there are saying, let's just get the lottery pick. This isn't for me. This is for a portion of our listener base. I'm showing my belly. I'm showing my belly. So the Raptors, obviously, the lottery doesn't make sense because they're like 17th, in the odds right now. So they're not part of the lottery. But let's assume for these people that they fall out and they lose in the play-in or whatever. So they'd be 13 or 14. Do you want the Raptors to be the 13th or 14th best odds for this role? I'll let you choose.
For the plot, 13th.
Okay, 13th. We will sim the lottery. They are 13th. Okay, well, that's all right. I hope everyone's happy. They got the 13th pick. I think it's a lot more fun to hope on, like, let's see something interesting in the playoffs than it is to expect to fall into the lottery and have something go well. I'm not expecting good things there. But I will say, if there's a blame pie, I know Will and Alex do like they'll probably do a full blame pie video. So we won't, but like, if you're directing your disappointment, it has to, and I know you don't feel it as much as me, but it has to go somewhere. What are you disappointed with right now?
There's definitely
blame somebody
to be shed.
Blame to be okay. Oh wait, before that, please, Jamal Shed. I have to know. What do you think?
When they were cutting the lead down and he took that 3 at the end of the third quarter, oh man, broke my soul. It's been a tough go. The Raptors have had, I know like his numbers haven't necessarily equated to like having the greatest shooting year, but a lot of his shooting within the early, especially early on in the season, were very timely big threes. And what's the rooster comes to see? I don't even know these like
chickens
white.
come home to roost.
The chickens come home to
You come
roost.
home to me for that, brother. I'll give you all those Midwesternisms all day and night. Till the cows come home, I'll give you those.
With most of the Raptors poor shooters, early on in the season, you got like a very medium sized to like high outcome out of their shooting. Guys like Scotty, guys like Jamal, even guys like CMB shot the ball like fairly well. And the chicken comes home to roost.
Yeah. Chickens come home to roost.
The chicken
has to come home. He's got to roost somewhere. He's always meant to be there.
And you're now in a situation where that they're shooting to the level of their shot talent. Like I love Scotty, but he's shown that he's a 30% 3-point shooter, and he's been worse than that since December. Jamal hasn't shot the ball fairly well. Jacoby's been up and down, very streaky from a week to week, and that makes, especially for depth and rotational players, which I probably would place the largest amount of blame. They can't play any transitional lineups right now. Jamal has been very hard to play. Jacoby isn't hitting enough shots. Mamu's shooting has come down relative to talent as well. Like he isn't Klay Thompson anymore.
His defense has been a struggle lately too.
Yeah. So they're in a situation where like even if their starting five is able to manage and win minutes, their transitional lineups are getting bludgeoned every single game. And they don't have the offensive talent from their top guys to withstand those minutes. It's clear as day. I think I'd play the largest blame on their like depth or lack of depth. They made a lot of bets, whether that's in the draft, acquiring other guys that just have not panned out. And that's obviously a frustration of the season. And then I would place the second largest amount of blame on their defense. From the perimeter, they've shown that their defense is just not good enough. It's just not up to snuff. Is up to snuff a white term?
Yeah, up to snuff. Yeah. Well, I don't know if it's I feel like
white. It's just like more ubiquitous.
Because there's a lot of things that on its face they say like this is white, but then you found out it was stolen sometime in the past.
That's usually how it goes. Fair enough. But their perimeter defense is atrocious. We had questions about whether RJ and Quickly could withstand a regular season together defensively, and like Darko made us look dumb for 50-60 games, largely due to CMB and Scotty being one of the best backline defenses in the NBA, and Scotty punching up to defensive player of the year level talent. With Jakob, he's elevated their offense to a degree where like they have more functional offense. They have 4 functional options. They can now run pick and rolls because he's a much better screener. Quickly has more options to get shots above the break because of his screening. He's a larger target at the dunker spot than a CMB would, and he'll hit a push shot. But their offense still sucks. And the defense is dramatically worse because even with Jakob, and I think he's looked much better than I expected him, considering the whole back thing. Mm-hmm. I don't think he's at the point where he's a positive defensive center anymore. And it's hard to expect for him to be able to clean up most of the things that a Quickly or a RJ allow, with guys like DeJounte Murray looking like the second coming of Kyrie Irving because of their lack of defense. They don't have talent there. Their transitional lineups aren't good, and they have not equipped their best players with enough shooting. There's a multitude of reasons, and they're all coming at the head at the exact same time at the worst part of the season. So it's tough.
Okay, so I'm very glad you answered that way because it gives more analysis, and that's what we're known for. But when I said, what about Shed? I was asking about...
Oh, no! Oh. When DeJounte screamed in his face, I just yelled, "Oh my God!" For a man fresh off an Achilles to take another man's Achilles, virtually, and scream in his face. And obviously, the Pull Up Trade podcast, we don't advocate for violence. We don't we don't advocate for violence. But can we get a little bit of more of a push? Can you make players feel like, hey, you can't push our guys around and act like that? I remember PJ and DeMar, they would have a nice little talking to.
Serge
was violent. That's why I didn't actually mention him.
But just who do you want to be that guy? Who's the guy who's supposed to on this roster? It's usually not.
It's not a great player.
It has to be a front court player with a lot of size, usually. Yeah. And what is it going to be, Jakob?
Yeah, this team's not equipped. Like they're kind of like their grinder guys.
A little bit. He's Georgian. He combs his hair forward. He gets a lineup, bro. He's about something. I don't know if he's about
like
that.
Elijah wants to be that. You can tell from like his thing, but he's the tiniest guy on the court.
But you can't come off the bench either.
Yeah, you can't.
Otherwise suspended. You get suspended. Yeah.
But Garrett Temple could take a suspension. he can show the fellas the way. To be honest,
he wears a turtleneck every day. He's not that guy. He's not. He wears a turtleneck every day. He's not gonna be the one. Like I think physically imposing wise, it's Scotty, but it's too much on the line.
Yeah, you can have your best player be the enforcer on the team. You're losing that battle every single time. It's just a multitude of things. But I think it's clear as day they need CMB to play, and he has to start. I think the only thing the Raptors had as like that was advantageous for them was that their defense was near the top of the league when him and Scotty played together. Their offense isn't good regardless of whatever big they play. But if they trot out an elite defense and muck up games far more than they are now, it gives them a better chance of winning games. And Jakob off the bench allows them to have that change of pace where you can run an RJ, Jakob bench lineup around some transitional guys and have some sort of form of an offense. Because, like, we've spoke about it ad nauseum. Like, the Brandon Ingram, leave it flat, let him try to bail us out, like, has not worked. And it worked at the beginning of the season where he looked like Michael Jordan for a brief stretch of the season. And, like, the chickens come to roost.
Okay, so I had a conversation with Darko the other day about some of the offensive philosophy, and it was pretty good. I'm saving it for a piece I'm writing, but I was pretty interested in basically, like, obviously when the quotes come out, it'll be a little bit more, spelled out, but the insinuation I got at front, like firsthand, was that there is not much of an expectation for Scotty to do well in the half court, and there isn't much of an expectation for Brandon to do well in the full court. And this, to me, is worrisome because, again, you have to have an expectation that obviously the coaches know more than everybody and they get to see practice. And again, I will reiterate, when we go to practice as media, we see the end portion. They practice for like 2.5 hours, 2 hours, and then we see like the last like 15, 20 minutes where it's usually skill development. Maybe guys play one-on-one or something like that. But it's like Jamison Battle hit, I think, 47 threes in a row the other day, just at the end of practice. But it's just, that's who we're seeing. It's just you're seeing a guy knock down shots. I don't know what the hell's going on over there. I don't know who's succeeding or excelling. And when he says stuff like that, I'm like, okay, maybe no guys are showing it in practice that makes him want to move away from that. But I asked him, like, why are we not seeing like these two-man actions between your best players very often? And he talked about, well, yeah, there's flow involved, and he said there's a lot that we can do there. Like, there's a lot of untapped potential, but maybe he's not that confident that they're going to tap into it this year. In which case, we get back into that big conversation, which we don't have to do today. But there is kind of a little question mark that's waiting to be clicked on the Raptors to initiate a conversation, if this were a video game, that says, what will you be doing this summer? Because things are going to change. And even if you have a team that stays together relatively, you still change a bunch. The turnover in the league now is incredibly quick. The Raptors in 2 years might be unrecognizable. They certainly are from 2 years ago. I don't know what they're going to do in the short term because they have been. Joe wrote a great piece about this, Wolfond. Louis Zatzman wrote a great piece about this. I'm sure many people will in the days to come. That the fact of, I did a podcast called The Raptors Are in Groundhog Day. They seem to be losing to the teams that they're always going to lose to and beating the teams that they're always going to beat, except they lose against the Pelicans tonight. It's a quagmire. I don't know how to get out of this. Do you have, put on your little thinking cap, do you know how to game your way out of it?
Game my way out of this would be tough. Darko's much smarter than me. I'll reiterate. I think they have to muck up games and play their best defensive lineups. They're not at a point where they can rely on any other of their potential shooting options as viable players right now, clearly. And I'm praying CMB is his thumb is at a level where he can be playable, because I think their most stable time not even was their 9-game winning streak. It was in that middle stretch of the season where CMB had started 20 games in a row, where they're trotting out a top 10 defense every single night. I don't think the Raptors are going to shoot 28% on open threes the rest of the season. If they do, they're absolutely cooked. There's an NBA offense can't survive this. But if that trickles up to 35% and they trot out an elite defense the rest of the season, they have a chance to regain the 5th seed. Their schedule's much easier than Orlando and Miami. I think they have to put their best foot forward in trying to win these games. Like, prioritizing even Jamal at this point doesn't make sense. I think you've gotten enough minutes out of enough guys to make decisions in the summer, and right now you should be prioritizing trying to win these games.
Okay, so Keeks quoted my tweet about, the Raptors going to the play-in. Toronto was 3rd in the East on January 26th. Do you remember what it was like on this podcast when they jumped into 3rd place? We said, where's Detroit? Where's Detroit?
I can't wait till March. Oh, man.
Oh, Lord. I mean, the point differential was always calling. The point differential was beckoning. I'm also just going to look at this quick. What was their record? 3-1, 5-2, 5-4. Then they won 4 in a row. I don't know what their record is with CMB, but it's definitely, as a starter, it's definitely above 500. Man. Anyway, the Raptors falling down the standings, I'll tell you what, stresses me out. And basketball can be stressful. And your choice of beer, it doesn't have to be people. Coors Light delivers a mountain cold refreshment. When the mountains turn blue with beers as cold and refreshing as the Rockies, Coors Light is cold lagered, cold filtered, and cold certified for a smoother finish. I will say, myself and S, as part of the new package of how we're doing the Coors Light stuff, I went around asking people for chill takes, etc., doing trivia. A lot of the chill takes at that point in time in the arena was that people just like, hey, let's relax, If the team, they're young, they're rebuilding, they're just doing all this kind of stuff. What do you make of the rebuilding term? What do you make of the soft language that Darko and Bobby use around this team?
I don't think they're rebuilding in the natural sense that like the casual fan expects. Like, I think they're retooling. They're trying to figure out who their core pieces are, but they've invested a lot of money in their core that they have on the court right now. And it would be different if Grady and Jacoby punch up and became starters this season and they fell down to 7 right now. That would be totally fine. You're taking away like, hey, this is 2 really young guys. They hit a wall at the end of the season. But you're seeing this with guys like Brandon Ingram, who you're paying $40 million to. Jakob Poeltl, who up and down season, obviously with injuries. That isn't the level of center that you've invested in, even quickly to the degree, which I think he's actually played much better post All-Star break.
His season, he's shooting the best he ever has in the 2-point range. I think it's a credit to the offense that they've designed that he gets some more of those shots. His pacing in the middle of the floor the last, I don't know, 8-9 games has been, to my eye, much better. He had a similar bump around this time 2 years ago, like back when I was in Mexico, like right after like when you came and visited and all the guys. He was doing similar things in the middle of the floor, and that's he's also shooting like pretty well from three at this point. It's not career high or anything, but his season has come around, and his off ball defense I think has been pretty strong too. The on ball stuff is a little different.
No, it's bad news there, but they've already invested the money, so they've made the bets. They've just have not hit on any of them realistically. Like that's the part that's probably challenging. You don't have any of these young guys that are, aside from CMB. CMB's been tremendous. Any young guys that are hitting above their pick value, I guess, and your core pieces that you invested in. I think what you take away from the season, obviously, like Scotty is the star that you thought that he was, and he's answered that question for you. But they're the team that is trying to
defensively, at least
defensively, yeah. But he's a player that drives winning. I think that's the clearest way of explaining it.
Mm-hmm.
They're a team that is retooling, and they're gonna have to make decisions in the summer with those core pieces. But they're not a team that is rebuilding, because a rebuilding team is assuming that the bottom of your lineup, which is your young guys, is going to slowly rise the tide as you go along, and that isn't what they're doing.
So the thing is, as the team, actually, before I say that, make sure to celebrate responsibly, people. This is all Coors Light ad read. It's all a chill take, etc. And just make sure to celebrate responsibly, please, and thank you. And you must, of course, be of legal drinking age. You can find Coors Light near you. Visit CoorsLightShop.ca. Okay, being a team that is retooling, and you and I use the term pivot, a team designed to pivot many times. The interesting thing about that was that you and I expected them to be a winning team, and they are a winning team with by some measure right now. They are winning more than they're losing. We expected adjustments in Brandon Ingram's game. We expected Scotty to be more freed up in terms of easier shots. We expected efficiency to follow every starter. We expected that. And when people have good health, I think efficiency has, basically everyone's seen a bump in efficiency. Brandon Ingram, by what he provides, has changed how the roster operates. It's resulted in better offense. But the thing that hasn't happened, and it's important for the Raptors for pivoting, is that none of their young guys have popped off, showed, let's say, surplus value in some way or another. Brandon has done a much better job defensively than I think people expected, but the transition into a more efficient or modern offensive player, that is not there. It's not there
Agreed.
at all. He's still really low free throw rate. He's still really low 3-point attempt rate. His assists, even though I went and audited the assists and he should have more, it's still not incredible. And the Raptors, strangely enough, play better offense when he's not out there because they play faster. And that's not to minimize what he's doing. What he's doing is important. But all these things, it would be really good if he was giving you this volume and a few more of these important markers. Scotty also shooting 30% from three. Not great. The fact that Grady, Jacoby, you talked about at the top of the podcast, that you're not getting guys popping off. That was part of the expectation when you wanted to pivot was you don't trade, ideally, you don't trade for Brandon Ingram with the idea that he's going to be the same player he's always been. You trade for him because you expect not only to have him healthy, which they've done a great job of doing, and Brandon himself deserves the most credit, but you expect a shift in some play style, and they haven't gotten it. And so even though he made an all-star game, I don't think other front offices are looking at Brandon like, we missed on that one. Like, we should have been the team who took him. None of their young guys are making compelling cases. Scotty, while the jump to Defensive Player of the Year conversation is obviously extremely meaningful, and the fact that he's definitely not a zero offensively, he's giving you lots of stuff. As you said, driving, winning is a great way to put it. We're still left wanting offensively.
For
Quickly, sure. Barrett, Jakob, all varying degrees of okay to, man, I don't know. You need points of strength to pivot from. And while a lot of it hinged on the brand and part of it, and that hasn't happened exactly the way they want it to, not necessarily, there's also everything else hasn't popped off exactly as you wanted to. It's like they are on a 46 win pace. They are in the play-in. They're still en route to the playoffs as far as we know.
Yeah.
But they basically haven't gotten anything to go really the way they want. If we look at does that make sense to you?
No, it makes sense. I think, like, if you consider CMB has been one of the best Raptors rookies I've seen, at least from, again, driving, winning, and like being impactful from day one. That you consider like he's probably a piece that you won't trade away unless it comes along with a major star.
Yeah.
How I view the core, like irregardless of the bets not working, is that you have RJ that is expiring in the summer, which allows you to pivot and retool.
Yeah, I pulled this up. He's making $29 million next year, and so that's basically $30 million of expiring, and he is objectively a useful player out there that other teams maybe are not lining up to give like $35 million to, but there'd definitely be some teams that are like, we want to sign that guy to a contract if we can get him at a good price.
Yeah, and there could be a team that has a surplus at the guard spot or at a wing that makes more sense, and you can make that pivot in a trade. And one of the things that I viewed the Ingram trade from the beginning, I know we talked about this as well, like with his contract and it being short and having this large salary slot, the Raptors essentially have given themselves like a 2-year window, because I doubt he isn't going to decline his player option in this current, like Rich Paul said he probably should have last year.
That was a bad indicator of where the fan base is, because I tweeted out that video last year and people started revisiting that video. Which means,
that was you. I did see it on the time. That's hilarious.
So which means people are obviously, they feel like, Brandon, which I don't think is necessarily fair. But anyway, to your point.
But they've given themselves a 2-year window where they have this pseudo expiring salary, where if they decide that this particular player or guy is the player that you want to pair Scotty Barnes with, you can attach picks and attach that salary and get that done fairly easy. It's going to be easy business to do. And the Raptors didn't have a lot of those salary slots before. It's going to come with a lot of risk and obviously moving picks. And we'll probably talk about this for months and months after the season. But they've, irregardless of everything that's gone on, they've put themselves in a position to make decisions and make bets heading into the summer. They've answered the most important questions, which was the Scotty part.
Okay. The thing is, there are two people, because I think it's more comforting to blame coaches and it's more comforting to blame the front office. One, because the coach, while I don't agree with this assessment of coaches, but some people believe that like a coach can just come in and make players good. So it's easier to just conceptualize like, we can save this thing if we just get a good coach. This guy sucks. I think Darko is a good coach. I know a portion of the listener base, I don't know what percentage, but a meaningful, does not like him. And listen, you and I disagree. It's okay to disagree about basketball. But I do think he's a good coach. It's comforting to think that he's the one stopping this team from being its full self. Then you're just switching out a coach, finding the right coach. But also, you brought it up. The Raptors, they have to pivot. They have to make the right decisions. Where's your confidence index on Bobby Webster right now?
It's
and
tough.
Keep in mind, he didn't draft me in the media draft, and he lost. He built a terrible team by the.
Oh my goodness. It really depends. Like, because Masai and him are lock in step with many of these decisions. I'm assuming so. If I base it off of that same track record.
And how do we ever even know?
No, exactly. If I'm basing it off that track record, it's not good. It's bad. So post-championship, it's terrible. So the confidence is roughly around a 5 or a 6. If I look at it just based on the delineation of Masai being let go, the decisions he's made is draft C and B, which was a good decision. I don't know if there was another option at 9, to be honest. I think
I
he was the
guess,
best player by either him or
well,
Queen were the best player by a long shot.
Coward is pretty
Yeah,
like well, that's just guys you and I liked though.
that's
In terms
like
of who was available,
it was like come on
yeah.
Malowatch. There was
If I
yeah
tell you what, I'll give Bobby a huge boost if it was true that he put the hammer down and was like, no, it's CMB instead of Malwatch. I'll give him a big thumbs up for that. But I don't know. I like Queen is obviously extremely interesting.
yeah.
I'm very interested to see Queen at like 26 years old on a good
Mm-hmm.
team. He could be
Agreed.
he could be a guy who's sitting in a spot where you're like, man, you just need this to click, or he could be like a full sale, just offensive star. He clearly that's there. I don't know.
Yeah,
But anyway, go ahead.
it's a big bet. Elijah Martin looks like he's going to be an NBA player, that seems like a W. And Mamukelashvili is one of the best offseason signings in the NBA last year.
On a
So
minimum,
on
yeah,
a, like
he's
a
great on a minimum.
per value basis. So if I'm basing it post Masai, all the decisions he's made thus far seem positive. So I'll give it like a 7 out of 10. But it's much harder to make those big trade swings and come out of them clean.
Do you look at missed opportunities as well? I don't typically look at missed opportunities because the more I learned about all this, and you're just gonna say like you're a media member, I'm just a regular guy, which I hate when you do that. But the more I learned about this is that like opportunity only knocks for like a few teams at a time. If a guy gets traded for X and Y, you can't just say like, why didn't our GM do that? Unfortunately, that would be
Yeah.
nice. Like, I mean, I remember my hand ringing over like Derek White went to the Celtics, and I'm like, why didn't we get Derek White?
I do remember that.
And I mean, you and I both were like, that guy's so good. Why didn't we get Derek White? And then obviously we got Thaddeus Young, which, all right. Okay.
Rough.
And then it missed out on the potential of drafting Nemhard. It is what it is. I don't mean to be sour grapes. But when you see like Ochai and 2 seconds goes for Trace Jackson Davis, but let's say Aodosumu goes for 4 seconds, I think is if the difference between Ochai and Trace is 2 seconds, and the difference between Trace and the price for Io is 2 seconds, I don't know in the background if Io is saying like if they're giving him like we're sending you to Minnesota, you're gonna play some good basketball. Thanks for all the years, Io. But I don't know if this is like if we're going one by one in terms of like quote unquote asset management. I don't know if they're knocking it out of the park, man.
But before the comments kill me, I remember he did give Yakov that extension. Horrendous. Thank God I saved myself.
That's
horrendous.
It does.
I'm back down to a 6.
You and I have been pretty. Neither of us liked the Jakob trade when it happened. Yeah. But both of us have been positive about who Jakob is as a player, that he is better than a lot of people give him credit for. He does impact winning in a great way.
For sure.
But I don't know what happened. But the fact that when he talks about his back, is like, I'm going to deal with this for the rest of my life. And the Raptors just inked him to this is like, hey, whoa, what's going on here? You know what I mean? But yeah, I guess like, even if I approach it, from like being, I don't know, optimistic, it's like, man, he's still like kind of old to get that contract. You know what I mean? Like, and also you didn't have to sign to an extension.
Yeah, when he was signed, we said like, like it's a lot of money, but like it's like probably neutral at best. And as he
neutral at best is not a great way to operate. By the way,
yeah, it's not
in life or in basketball. You want to create some higher upside stuff.
It's not like you buy a house, you're like, this house is like neutral at best, like it's livable.
You know who was a neutral guard?
Yeah,
Grievous Vasquez. And they shipped them out. They got OG Anunoby and Norm Powell in the same trade.
That's true.
You know,
change our lives.
Mine and yours especially. Yeah, man. I don't know. The Bobby, it's not. And here's the thing: you can make one decision and everything can change. You can. You just got to make the right one. But I suspect that GMs, presidents of basketball operation, etc., they what is it like? I get a million deals a day. I choose one or whatever the hell. It's like it's probably not easy.
It's tough. When I think about the like opportunity loss that they had, we talked about it at the deadline because of all the shitty deals that they have on the books. You can't punch up and say, "Hey, we're the fourth or fifth seed right now. Jaren Jackson Jr. is available. We can strap salary, 2 or 3 picks, and get it done." Because when you look at the package Utah gave them, you're like, these picks aren't even that good. They just gave him salary.
They blew their salary flexibility on the damn Davion Mitchell, Jalen McDaniels trade when other teams were like, we're going to save it for the Jaren Jackson Jr. trade.
We did gas that Davion trade.
It was a slick move. And then they traded him and they got 2 second rounders. Dude, that was some slick. That was some slick front officing, man. I gotta give him credit.
Business.
Dude, that's Jalen McDaniels going out for 2 to earn is like, hell yeah, man, let's go. He ended up being 4. He ended up being 4 second rounders. Jalen McDaniels is worth Ayo Dosunmu second round currency, apparently.
Oh, just brutal. But yeah, they lost the opportunity where teams were shelving off guys at a discount, and they could have decided, hey, let's pair Scotty Barnes with one of the other 30 to 40 best players in the NBA and see what they can really do. And pair now you're looking at the season like, they're building something.
Is that not what they did with Brandon though? Like that's the exact same pitch.
It is, and they've improved. Like I know you made the whole like improved. They didn't make a 15.
You did listen, jump. Wow.
I did. I'm not S. When
you don't hear enough of me, man.
I've been sick for days. I just was in bed. I've just been in bed. I'm not S. When I say I watch, I actually watched.
Very good.
But yeah, I don't think the Raptors, Brandon Ingram was a 15-win difference. Obviously, like they tanked. They probably win anywhere between 35 and 40. But they did that. They traded for Brandon, and he probably is worth 5 to 7 wins more. You probably want to see, hey, what does a bigger star look like? Or even if you decide Brandon is a part of that nucleus, attach Triple J on top of that. It's just that opportunity loss of being able to continuing to stack. I think they're going to have to tear down some of this house to rebuild it again.
I do. And that's the thing about retooling is that you might have to retool, but some teams also have to rebuild. So yep. I don't want to dismiss it out of hand as if it were like a foolish thing to do to, I don't know, accelerate, because I know it is conventional wisdom to just assume that if you had high picks, then everything would turn out. Listen, LaMelo Ball and Con Knipple and Brandon Miller are really driving it, and good for them. And the Hornets have been in the doldrums for a long time. But if you just go down for 1 year, it can be, and like this is the thing, the Raptors, they Colin Murray Boyles, but let's say they did this another year. You got to make sure it's not Tajon Salon or whatever the hell at number 6, you know? Like it's I am so, and maybe it's being a contrarian, I don't know, or just not wanting to, but like the idea that if you just get high in the draft, you will end up on the other side successful. I can never co-sign that, because I don't know, I watch a lot of basketball. I watch a lot of teams play bad basketball, and I'm saying like, hey, they've been here a while, man. And the promise of the rebuild and the tank, the process went as you wanted it. Like, I mean, just they traded. These guys get traded.
Yeah.
they say like, yeah, anyway, go ahead.
You look at the top of the East, Detroit, they were terrible for several years, and they didn't have the luck of the Spurs who jump up, 3 out of 4 years? You have to be bad for several years, and Cade Cunningham is like in year 5 now, finally showing that, hey, he's worth the number 1 pick or like perennial all NBA guy. The Hornets, who like, mind you, it feels like night and day. It feels literally me jumping from channel to channel is like that bus meme. Where they're hitting threes. Eric Collins like, oh boy, they're skipping around. I'm having a great time.
I said this before, man, but I would trade a first-round pick for Eric Collins, man. I think he adds, and this might sound insane, he adds as much enjoyment to a game as like a $16 million player does by being out there. Just, he's that transformative of a game caller.
It makes everything, like the outlandish things LaMelo does, feel 8 times bigger. It's just like the perfect pairing of like team style and broadcast, but it's outstanding. But to bring them up, you look at their lineup, they have the second player overall in the draft. They have another second player overall in the draft, and Brandon Miller. Khan went 4th last year.
Or was LaMelo was 3?
James 3, Wiseman. Yes. He did not know Mandarin. But even when you look at that and say, like, that still took them, like, LaMelo's in the year, he was drafted in 2020. And this is the first time that they might finish above 500.
And they traded Kemba in 2018, right?
Yeah, you're right.
Or was it 2017? James Boo would know this, like, off the top of his head. But it's a long time, man. It's a long, long time.
Yeah. So I don't think me as a fan, at least, I don't want the Raptors to be in that position. And other teams have shown that you can pivot from the middle as long as you have faith in your front office to make the correct decisions. The Pacers are a perfect example of this. They made the correct moves. They made the right bets and are in the finals. The Miami Heat, most of their final runs are driven by like some late lottery picks, but they trade guys at the right time. I know getting Jimmy Butler isn't like easy, but they get a time where like
he was never going to choose Toronto.
Yeah, he's not choosing Toronto. That's what I was trying to frame. But like they also got him at a time where like people are like, is Jimmy Butler worth a 5-year max? It's where a team chooses Tobias Harris over. Like they just made the correct bets. And
that is
all-time terrible
scene. Yeah, it was 2019-20 is Kemba's first year with Boston. So the Hornets were 39-43. Then they go down to 23-42, and they finished 9th in their Eastern Conference at 23-42. What the hell was going on?
That's crazy.
Oh my God! Cavs 19-46, Hawks 20-47, Pistons 20-46, Knicks 21-45, Bulls 22-43, Wizards 25-47, Hornets 23-42. Lord, that's crazy, heaven, man. This is bad basketball. Oh man, I guess it's a shorter season too because of the COVID happening. But wow, that is something else, man. It's crazy that like the Wizards are 25-47, the Hornets are 23-42. They had 7 more games. How the hell anyway? That doesn't matter. Obviously, because it got cut off in a weird place. Whoa.
Okay, that doesn't make any sense. But
the world made no sense at that time. You and I were just becoming friends.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that is true. That is the start of our friendship. 6 years. It's like probably close to the day our group chat started. Probably close. March or April or something.
Well, I wasn't there when it started. I got tossed in probably half a year or a year into it, I think.
Gotcha. Were you in our group chat for the Raptors Boston series? You had to have been.
No.
Oh.
No, I wasn't.
So yeah, probably close to the summer. Dang.
Yeah.
But
anyway.
Raptors, not good. Not good at all.
It's been a tough scene. Okay. Let me read something, by the way, everyone. Don't turn away. I have to read you something. An impertinent news message from myself, an impertinent newsman. This segment is a presentation of TunyBet Online Sportsbook and Casino. Thousands of slot games, live casino at your fingertips, and a sportsbook made for Ontario. Get your game on with TunyBet. TunyBet is licensed and regulated by the AGCO and iGaming Ontario. 19 plus Ontario only. Please play responsibly, and I beg of you to please play responsibly. Otherwise, just please responsibly. The Boston Celtics versus the Oklahoma City Thunder. Big game. Huge game. The Thunder are minus 6.5. The Celtics are plus 6.5. Not even talk about the game. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, you came out on all of us, the friend group, were saying, oh my God, he's so sick. Your aura is so cool. You're the sickest guy of all time. You came out on the other side. He's incredible, man.
he is one of the greatest basketball players. I don't understate this. He is one of the 10 best basketball players I've ever seen. Watch.
But not as good at Instagram.
No. No. I think what is so unique about basketball, what is so great about basketball is that your personality shines. And you can, it's the one sport that really allows you to bask in joy and be a little chalant. Both him and I love the analogy that people brought up on the timeline of that he is very Jalen Hurts quoted. Everything is a motivational type quotes. Everything's this nonchalant way, oh, I've got the answers. I'm just waiting for the questions. Come on, just say we hit big shot. I think I should win the MVP. What a win for the guys. It's all right to be happy. There's nothing wrong with it at all. We're all human beings. It's okay to bask in the joy of hitting one of the biggest shots of the season. It doesn't have to be nonchalant.
So have you played these role-playing, what are they, RP, Fallout games or anything like that? So the speech check when it's if your speech is high enough and you say the wrong thing, but then you get high enough speech and suddenly you can say the right thing?
Yeah.
You speech checked me, bro. You actually swung me on that one. God damn, you got me. You actually got me. You appealed to all my sensibilities. I hate the nonchalant stuff. I love Shai, but oh man, you totally got me. You're right. It doesn't have to be, but you made me think about it too. And I love Shai. Watching him play is a true blessing, but he doesn't have that much personality actually.
Everything is a quote. Anthony Edwards, problematic as he is, he hits a shot in the play-in, he jumps up, he's flashing. He acts like he won the title, which is why people gravitate towards him, why people feel a genuineness about him.
Wemby cried.
Because he's he shows his flaws through and through, and obviously the world doesn't. Sometimes the world doesn't aid in showing your flaws, obviously. But it would have been cool to feel some genuineness out of the moment.
He is. Do you think? Let's forget the Instagram because now I'm fully on your side there. Wow, you totally swung me. But in terms of maybe he is just a nonchalant guy.
Yeah.
Listen, Makai Bruce. If you wanted it, I know you are trying to get some chalance out of him, but you can't. Some guys you can't get the chalance out.
Yeah, some people are just a cool cat, and I get that, but I feel as a basketball player, and you get it from spurts. I don't know if you watched his.
Not everyone screams when the sun chips spill.
I'm a very chalant man, as are you. But
yep.
he will express I'm this great player and be I'm very, 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 very hard to stop, which I thought was cool. I thought it was cool when he said that.
Yeah.
But it's still feels somewhat disingenuous to some degree.
I think I agree with you on the social media aspect. I think he is a nonchalant guy though. I think that's his natural affectation. But I do. You swung me. Forget about live a little maybe. I would like that. Yeah.
So it's okay to think because everyone in the moment, I was curled up in my bed watching oh my God, wow, he hit that shot, he won the MVP, and when they do a documentary about his career, that shot's gonna come up.
Yeah.
And he won back-to-back MVPs and he stole it from Jokic in this moment, and they probably win back-to-back titles. And what they remember from the game is that he's got the answers to the test. He's just waiting for the questions.
Honestly, yeah. I think it would be way better, even if we're just looking at it viewing it's like when we watch the documentary, it's way better if you just show it in the moment. Because what's the documentary going to pull up a screenshot of his Instagram post and be like, he's so sick, he writes little poems? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Also, what do you think about Jaylen Brown saying that the goalposts are being moved on him and that he's like not, people wouldn't choose him for MVP?
He lost me. I was with Jaylen Brown the entire season. I was with him the entire season. I was even lining up like, all right, SJ missed another game. Nice.
You were. It's true.
I'm like, Jokic isn't gonna play tonight. Everything falls right. It's just he just has to beat out Cade. I think he's had like a tremendous season, and like Boston has done way more than either you or I thought they would do. But the gap between him and the top 3 players in the world are mountains, absolute mountains. I think there was a time maybe a couple years ago, or maybe just in my thought, where it felt like the NBA was a bit more flat. There's like 3 to 5 guys that are sitting on top of the NBA, and it's everybody else, I think.
I think what is really flat right now is like maybe 6 through 20. Like that those
sense.
guys switch a lot. Whereas I don't know, when I used to view it, it felt like the top 12 guys, like in 2019, 2018, maybe, it felt like the top 12 guys were like, it was so hard to break into that. Mm-hmm. But now it does not feel like you can make the jump from 20 to 12 in a season. I mean, Jaylen Brown, a lot of people did not consider like a top 20 player. And he's in the top 10 of this season. You might have some trouble like arguing him into the top 10 of a healthy NBA with some people, but he's in the conversation at the very least. And I mean, I'm still like, playoffs come, I'll be like, man, that's incredible. Jason Tatum was the best player on their team after the Achilles thing. Like, I'm sorry, Jaylen, but I did need to get your thoughts on that because I saw that and I was like, man, he would have been cooking so hard if it was just Jokic. Like he could have, he could have Kendrick Perkins everybody again.
Swing another MVP.
He could have been like, have you seen? I don't know if you've been looking the complexion, but SGA was standing there like, what do you mean, bro? Yeah,
the MVP was over. It's over. I love seeing in moments where you can see something happening in real time and feel like a cosmic shift, and like there's no question, there's no debate. There might still be some question of who's the best player in the world. I still think it's Jokic probably. But I think if I wanted to start a team with someone to be SG, I think he's the easiest star to build around.
Whoever between, because I don't think anybody in the East is winning the championship. Whoever wins the championship, there's like, if Minnesota won the championship, he would get a hefty push to be, and he scores like 30 per. He get a hefty push to be considered the best player in the world. SGA, Jokic, between those two, I mean, whoever wins, you clearly have it because it'd be Jokic taking it back. It's his second, or SGA 2 in a row. I mean, it's undeniable. I don't know who else could. I mean, Giannis has no shot right now.
Wemby. I think Wemby would have a shot.
Wemby, if he dominated the playoffs, because the perception of his upside is just people are like, obviously this guy is like, I mean, his logo is an alien, right? He is an otherworldly figure. He would be a pretty easy sell if the Spurs won. Yeah. Because the Spurs, you look at the rest of that roster, you're like, damn, they're not that good. How did this happen? But then you'd have to.
And I've been trying to think of like, in the playoffs, he's going to play 40 minutes a night. How are teams going to score? And like, how does that look like behind like Stephon Castle? And because defensively they do have talent around them. Like Dylan Harper, for some reason, is just like, we missed the mark on how good he could be defensively. I did not think he'd be able to deal.
But what does it look like without Wemby there is important. We've talked about this before. Is like, I don't know. Every once in a while we need to start playing pickup basketball more often together again. But like, You know, when the really good guy is on your team, like the 6'7", like I used to play college ball for 4 years and then 2 years in Europe, is on your team and he plays the middle, you're like, damn, I can kind of do whatever I want on the perimeter. It's usually the size and talent gap isn't that big in the NBA that you get that, but Wemby might represent something similar there. That you
Yeah.
just kind of you get to do little freak out stuff and just try and get steals on the perimeter because you're like, guess who's back there? I don't worry about a thing.
Yeah, that's fair because I've seen a million threads of SGA versus Stephon Castle, and I've been fighting back against this all season and saying no, he is not scared of the initial defense. That is not what's happening here. So that makes sense.
Wemby he introduces an angle of trying to score that I just don't know if we've had. I can't think of another guy like in terms of the measurements. Manute Bol is probably the closest. Like he's taller, but the mobility that Wemby represents at that size is just like I don't know if we've seen it in a guy over 7 feet before. I just don't think so. Like KG, if he truly was 7 feet, maybe is the guy. But even then, his standing reach is like 7 inches shorter than Wemby's.
Yeah. I'm assuming like in the playoffs, like he in a similar way, like Anthony Davis has like always been a natural playoff riser because he plays in the playoffs. His defense helps you win way more because he's playing 40 minutes a night. The same thing must happen with Wemby, probably 50% more because of the requisite size. So if the Spurs win the title, I wouldn't be shocked at all.
He is the guy who could flip everything on its head for sure. Because the Spurs, they would be arriving so early. It would kind of be like, you know, when OKC reached the finals, everyone was like, whoa, that was so fast. How'd you get here that fast? But they had KD, Westbrook, and Harden, and Serge Ibaka. None of like Castle, Harper, even Fox, like none of those guys have any of the oomph that Harden and, you know, Westbrook had. But Wemby, it would seem like it would be like LeBron in 2007, except this is year 3 for Wemby. Like it would be very similar to, in my mind, the greatest of all time. That's crazy. Sorry if there's any Michael Jordan number 1 havers out there. He's my number 2, but LeBron's number 1 for me.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think there's really a question. You pop on some NBA courtside. It's just not up to snuff. It's not there. I'm sorry, guys.
Well, listen. We know how we feel. Michael Jordan, he's incredible. LeBron James, he's incredible. I do have the latter over the former, though. Is there anything you want to say before we get out of here?
To all our loyal listeners, we've been positive this whole season, and I have told you to remain true and calm and stay in the thick of things. And I'm asking you to do this one last time.
Holy smokes! Masai gets fired, and this guy takes his speech.
The Raptors have an easier record than the teams above them remaining for the rest of the season. They are not going to hold on. It is unlikely, let me add the caveat, that they're going to miss this many open shots for 18 more games. Just how their shooting was probably, I was looking for another white euphemism. But never mind. They probably shot above their shooting talents at the beginning of the season. I think they're shooting a bit, just a smidge under as well. They're not non-NBA shooters, and that will naturalize over the course of the next 18 games. And they're gonna make the playoffs. We're gonna see them battle, and hopefully we'll see them in person. And it's gonna be a good ride. 47 wins still on the table.
Broken clock, right twice a day. If the Raptors are a broken clock and they're one of the worst shooting teams in the league after starting off in like the top 10 to start, maybe that broken clock will be right again to close out the season. I don't know.
That's all they need. Can I get 5 games of above average shooting? That's all I need.
It's only 5.
I'm assuming I'm either CMB is cutting off his thumb or he's healthy and good to go. So I think our defense will be fine.
I think Colin is a little ways away.
Oh, why did you tell me at the beginning? Oh my God.
Based on what I'm hearing.
Oh my God.
I don't know. That's a great way to end the podcast. Yeah, by the way, very chalant. Very chalant. All right. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in with us. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, hype, all that good stuff. It helps support the show and helps, more people see it. Hopefully they enjoy hearing Trey and I. We are the laugh track to the Raptors' downfall as of late, and we hope to be the laugh track to their uprising, Shout out the Raptors. Let's see what happens. From myself and Trevon, thank you very much for tuning in. We appreciate you very much. And whether you got into this in the morning or at night, have a blessed day and goodbye.